Today we are going to Khajuraho temples again to cover the eastern and northeastern group of shrines, and then the archaeological museum, the shopping options, and finally the light and sound show in the evening. This is our third day in Khajuraho. We covered the western group of Khajuraho temples in our earlier vlog. You can check our earlier vlog for that, and the link is in the description below. We have covered vital details like how to reach Khajuraho from Delhi, where to stay in Khajuraho, and Khajuraho temples, what makes them special, and so on in our earlier vlog. We are staying at Tendu Leaf Jungle Resort at Panna, who are our hosts and sponsors for this trip. You can check out our earlier vlog about this amazing jungle resort. Links again in the description below. After a nice hefty breakfast, we reached Khajuraho temples again along with our guide Ghanshyamji, who was with us yesterday as well. We started this round of Khajuraho temples with the magnificent Chaturbhuj temple. It is an 1100 AD temple with a Shiva statue in the Sanctum Sanctorum that is remarkable for its expression of transcendental calm and bliss.
We are at the Chaturbhuj temple. It's a lone temple, and it is the presiding deity is we are told is Harihar, so a combination fusion between Shiva and Vishnu. The important thing that I wanted to point out is that ASI has been, this temple was in pretty bad shape, so ASI has done a lot of reconstruction work here. So all these plain blocks of stone have been inserted by ASI to keep the structure intact. So their focus has been to maintain the structure, while all this, the carvings are the old carvings. So what is sad or funny is that over time we have developed a lot of technologies, but somehow we haven't developed enough to recreate these sort of carvings on these plain stones. So this is where probably mechanization has its own limits, and then human labor and skill set in terms of traditional knowledge has a more important role to play.
Next up, we found a mound of ruined pieces near the eastern group of temples. This is the Bijamandal temple that is yet to be completely excavated. It is now an open site with beautiful statues and pillars scattered everywhere. A very prominent Shivalinga on the top of the mold makes the site extremely photogenic. The Duladeo temple is gorgeous and best preserved in the southern group of Khajuraho shrines. Dedicated to Lord Shiva, the temple conceptualizes him as the Dulha or bridegroom. Consequently, the temple has many sculptures on the outer walls that depict marriage and copulation. The spires of the temple replicate Mount Kailasha, the abode of Lord Shiva. The temple is among the last temples built by the Chandolas in Khajuraho and is just not to be missed. Since we were in the vicinity, we took a short break from the Khajuraho temples and visited the new archaeological museum. The old Khajuraho museum was a treasure trove of artifacts collected from the temple zone and nearby archaeological sites. The collection is now being transferred to the sprawling and bright new museum. The new museum is to have 6 galleries, although when we went only 1 gallery was ready. That said, the new gallery is well lit and the artifacts are duly labelled and spaced out. After the archaeology museum, we went to another temple in the eastern group of shrines. This was the Vamana temple. The statue of Vamana, or the dwarf incarnation of Lord Vishnu, is a beautiful depiction in all serenity, but without making the structure a caricature. In fact, the whole structure has some sort of stunted style which is so in parity with the Vamana or the dwarf theme. The temple is breathtakingly beautiful from outside as well.
Now we are at Vaman temple, which is part of northeast Khajuraho temples. And another common thing that we are seeing everywhere in all Khajuraho temples is that all the statues are not just people or characters. They are oftentimes icons or concepts or somehow stories. Like every statue is telling a story, which is quite similar to what we are trying to do here. We are trying to tell stories through photos, videos, vlogs, and I think it's a innate human desire to leave stories behind. So I think in that day and age, these sculptors and kings and connoisseurs, they did it through these temples and sculptures, and we are trying to do it in our digital age through digital mediums. We are at the eastern zone of Khajuraho temples. So this is the Adinath and the Parshvanath temple, and this is one of the very few Jain temples of Khajuraho group of temples.
The main difference between the Jain temples and the Hindu temples of Khajuraho is that the Jain temples have been live all along and there has been continuous worship from their inception till now. In case of Hindu temples, most of these are now historical monuments and regular worship does not take place. When we approached this temple, all we could see was contemporary cement construction. It was like a Jain hermitage and we were very skeptical. But once we entered and went inside, the older Parshvanath temple stood in full glory. This is the largest Jain temple here. This temple has a lot of floral carvings with an exquisite, clean and shiny black stone idol of seated Lord Parshvanath in the Sanctum Sanctorum. This temple is almost devoid of erotic statues and is dated back to the 10th century. Other noteworthy Jain temples here are the Adinath temple, the Shantinath temple and the Ghantai temple, which is dedicated to Lord Rishabhnath and dates back to the 11th century. The temple is now in ruins. The only standing structures, some parts of the gate and the pillar bear testimony to the grandeur of the temple. Thus we completed our visit to Khajuraho temples. The Jain temples were the last group of temples that we saw, and they are so beautiful that any visit to the Khajuraho monuments would have been incomplete if we hadn't seen these. There was an attractive eco-friendly bamboo facade structure just outside the Parshvanath temple. We saw the board Shramdan in Devanagari script hanging from the top and entered. It turned out to be a shop selling handwoven and handmade items and accessories. The focus was on khadi, and they also had the spinning wheel or charkha displayed in the store with an area for demonstrations. It was one of the most beautiful contemporary spaces that we saw in Khajuraho. Mriganayani is the Madhya Pradesh government craft store and they have an outlet in Khajuraho as well. They had a limited stock of Chanderi and Maheshwari weaves, both specialties of Madhya Pradesh. We bought some presents from here. There are many shops surrounding the western group of temples. If you are in the mood for seeing some traditional woodwork, metalwork or silver ornaments, this is the place. We saw a breathtakingly beautiful elephant brass lamp in one of these shops and bought it for Diwali. We also saw an old hand-pulled Harappan style toy bullwood cart and bought that as a gift for a friend. Though we were tired by now, we had yet to watch the Sound and Light show. These are held in Hindi and English languages respectively every evening in the western group of temples. The temples are illuminated in colored lights and there is a narration describing the background behind each temple. Unfortunately, the light and sound show did not leave any impact and is frankly quite passable. There goes our Khajuraho saga. Do like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks.